discuss. It's on job interviews. Now, I first of all want to make a disclaimer to everybody that I'm in no way a human resource specialist. What I'm going to share with you is purely based on my experience. I've been an interviewee before. I've also been an interviewer. I've sat on the other side of the interview panel. So I've noticed that there's some mistakes that we make as interviewees that we need to try and avoid. So you have seen an advert, whether it's via the company website or it's on social media, or someone has linked you to that job opening and you're interested. First of all, I want you to make sure that you qualify for this job opening. You must make sure that you qualify for this job opening, because if you don't, I genuinely want to say this to you, that it's not necessary for you to apply for a job where you don't qualify, unless of course the Holy Spirit has spoken to you that you should go ahead and apply for this job opening. Otherwise, it is in no way necessary for you to apply for a job that you don't qualify for. So nowadays, you're very lucky. Employers are putting out adverts that have everything in it. The salary scale is stated. So you have looked at the job opening. It's something that you are interested in, you qualify, you are excited about. So the next thing for you now is to now look at your curriculum vitae, your CV. No one CV is a one size fits all. So there can only be one specific CV for each job opening. So don't try and use a general curriculum vitae that you probably applied for a job years ago. You have to make sure that you tailor your curriculum vitae to the job that is being advertised. So once you do that, make sure you use correct wording. I think we'll talk about this in another video, where I would want to lay out some of the words that you need to use when tailoring or doctoring your CV. So the CV is done. You have made sure that every point or every item that has been put in the job advert, you've attended to it, successfully and adequately. So the next thing is now for you to just submit your application. And the moment you submit your application, because look, you have met every requirement, you've tailored your CV to the job advert, you've submitted. The next thing is for you to now start researching on this organization. You basically just need to find out a few things, like what are they into, what do they do, how is generally their culture. If you know anybody who works in that organization, try and find out just basic knowledge. We're not saying go and start asking these guys whether they know someone in the HR department to give you a linkage. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is just make sure you have a general idea what this organization is all about. Sometimes you may realize that it may be an organization that you really, really want to work for. After a few interviews with people, after researching, you realize that it's probably not an organization that you want to work for. So at least you'll have ruled out all these things. What is part of the research process is you now trying to put yourself in the position of an employer or the person that will be interviewing you. Try and generate some questions based on that field, because it's a field that you're in. So you probably may have certain questions that you may want to ask. Where you are trying to be on the other side of the panel. So you could probably generate some questions on what they might ask and try and come up with answers. It's just a process, it's just a way of you trying to equip yourself. Should they call you today? Should they call you in the next few days? You'll have adequately prepared yourself for the interview. When you do that, when you do your research, you come up with questions that you're able to answer. basically builds your confidence. You know, you build your confidence in the way you're going to respond to questions, and also it gives you the courage to be able to speak in front of a panel. Sometimes you find that, I remember one interview that I attended, there were about 10 interviewers. Now, because I had prepared, I was not afraid of these people. I was able to interview, with confidence and articulate issues, based on the questions that they asked. So now they call you, they tell you that the job is set on such and such a date. You have accepted. Probably in most cases we have about 2 days. They'll tell you in the next 2 days you're going to have an interview. So now you need to make sure your outfit is ready. And I think for men, a navy blue suit is acceptable, or charcoal gray, something dull or black. Something dull. You don't have to go dressed up in a flashy kind of outfit. If you don't have a suit, you can wear any kind of jacket, or it can just be a shirt, a nice, properly ironed shirt with a tie, and make sure your hair is groomed. Your shoes must be nicely polished. And for ladies, I'm more comfortable wearing pants. For me, pants, I'm really, really comfortable. I can go into an interview, can walk into an interview wearing pants and a jacket. But for some who are okay with wearing dresses or a skirt, make sure it's not way too high above the knees, because that simply sends a totally different picture. Now I'm talking about you being dressed officially in an official outfit, something that is really, really presentable. And what I have noticed is that there's one interview where I interviewed, and it was a job it's not really an office job, but it's for someone who's a field worker. And I was surprised to see that people walked into that interview wearing things that they would wear when they're at the site. I was saying, good heavens. Now, there could be somebody who's thinking of doing that. Please, 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 a job interview, regardless of what the field is, whether you're a plumber, you are an electrician, you are an office desk kind of employee, you have to come dressed formally. No casual dressing is allowed in an interview, regardless of what it is, whether you are a singer, you are a big, unless otherwise, I could be wrong, but make sure you dress formally. So now you are in this interview. Some of the questions that they might ask are questions like, tell us about yourself. This question has more often come in interviews, and this is where most of us make mistakes. This is an opportunity for you to now tell us about what you know about this job, how good you are, how are you the best fit for this job opportunity. Tell us how well organized you are, how you communicate effectively, how that you meet deadlines, how that in the past you have cut costs if let's say you are an accountant, how that you've helped organizations save costs, and so on and so forth. So this is not the time for you to start telling about your entire clan. I have 5 grandparents. I have 3 brothers. I have no. This is not the time for that. So now we move on to the next question. The next question, they may ask you stuff like, what makes you think that you are the best candidate for this job? It's a very crucial question that you need to really take time to respond to. When they ask you about why you feel that you are the best candidate, make sure you talk about your qualifications. It's important. The fact that they call you for interviews, it means that you met their requirements. One of the requirements was for you to have the basic qualification that they're looking for. Talk about your qualification. If it's a degree that you have, talk about that. If you have a master's, if you have a diploma, if you have a certificate, talk about that. Then secondly, you now need to begin to relate like some of the accomplishments that you have made in your career. That will definitely help out, because you may find that they'll tell you, well, we have about 10 people that do qualify for this interview. They met the fact that they qualify, they have the degree, they've worked for so many years, probably worked longer than you. So what is it that sets you apart? This is the time now for you to talk about things that sets you apart, like your activities, your interests outside of your job. What is it that sets you apart from other people, from other candidates? Yeah, so make sure you bring out the best about you. Other questions that they may ask, they are what we call teaser questions. These are questions they may ask you a question like, if you were an animal or if you were a car, what would you? Your answer should be in line with the job. Make sure you find something in the job advert that relates to your answer. So don't just answer for the sake of it. If I were asked such a question, I would probably say I want to be a minibus. Why? Because let's say you are driving from point A to point B. There's enough room for you to just, organize your things. If you are, organize your things, put them in order. That way, you will be better placed to respond to such a question. So make sure as you respond to these questions, you're bringing out things that connect you to the job. And if they ask you, sometimes they'll finally say, okay, what makes you, do you have any questions for the panel? Don't walk out without asking them any questions, because you'll have already researched on the organization. So definitely, there's one or two things that you want to find out about the organization. It could be a question like, what are the challenges that this department is facing currently? That way, they will look at something. They will look at you as someone who's thinking, someone who's got a foresight, and in that way, I think you'll have aced your interview with the little information that I've shared with you. I hope you enjoyed that. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a message.